Yeah, welcome to this quick video about the Agile environment. So in this video, we'll be discussing about ideas of how to build an Agile environment so that team members can truly be agile in that environment. So in an environment which is hostile to agility, it will be very difficult for team members to operate in the agile way. So it is the organization's responsibility to create an agile environment before team members can really operate in that fearlessly. First thing is, what is an agile environment? So this is an environment in which people can really focus on their work and they can really do commitment. That means they can demonstrate commitment to their work. That means if you are committed to something, you will not be able to commit to something else. That means when a person is really working on something, he will not be forced to stop that and then commit to something else which was not there in the agenda. Then we are talking about respect. By respect we mean it's about self-respect and mutual respect. So team members should respect each other properly, and there must be self-respect as well. And the entire team must be open to share the details with others. This can be project artifacts, this can be project status. So we are talking about a very open environment where any stakeholder can see the status anytime, kind of thing. And we are talking about courage. People should be able to work courageously. That means without fear. Let's say if today somebody asks me for an estimate quickly, and I take some calculated risk and I throw a number, and tomorrow if it goes wrong, nobody should be able to hold it against me. So we have to create an environment which imbibes all these values of courage, focus, commitment, respect, and openness. Very often during consulting assignments, I see when people talk about very vibrant workplaces, sometimes it is generally misunderstood as very noisy environments. But in my experience, a very vibrant agile environment means it is absolute silence, where people are really focused on their work, and because of mutual respect, others don't dare to disturb the team members when they are really working on it. So if they have to have a meeting, they go to the meeting room and discuss. They don't create that noise in the cubicles and disturb their colleagues when they are really performing focused work. And during estimation meetings in a good agile teams, it is fearless exchange of ideas. There is no room for seniority. There is only room for meritocracy. So irrespective of whose idea it is, people should have the atmosphere should allow for disagreements. So we must agree to disagree. So that is about courage, openness, focus, commitment, respect, and openness. So only in this kind of an environment, true agility can be established and agile teams can take root and deliver. Now, how do we create an environment like this? Like any other project, we should start with the business case for Agile. An organization is starting with Agile. They should be very clear about why they are doing this. There must be a compelling reasons to adopt Agile. And in many discussions, this is one question I ask the client in consulting assignments. Before I get into the assignment, I ask them, why are you doing this? Until I get an answer, I am not that convinced. And sometimes the answer can be our competitors are working on agile mode, and with traditional project management, we are unable to cope up with them because they are making releases very fast, very frequently. They are making frequent releases, and we are unable to catch up with them because we are following the predictive or waterfall models. So because of competitors' pressure, we are getting into it. That is a valid reason. In another case, it was like a team worked on a project for 2 years before they realized that nobody wants the product of the project. Then they said, if you had failed at least in the first 6 months, we would have saved millions of dollars because we are talking about fast failure. So there must be a compelling reason which will drive the organization towards agility. So that must be very, very clear, and that must be communicated from the top to the top down. Communication should happen because of so and so reason. Our organization is embracing agile with full commitment, and it is part of the strategy, and we don't have any other go. We want to do it. That message should come from the topmost person, and it must percolate down to every level in the organization. So that is the starting point. Then one should analyze, one should do a force field analysis, like what all things can work in favor of agile, in favor of building an agile environment, and what all things can oppose the building of an agile environment. Very often it can be the fear of the unknown. Most of the stakeholders, they may not be really aware of agile. So they have this fear. So they have these predictive models and controlling culture, and suddenly they don't want to give up. Because in one place, when we went for the discussion, the head of delivery, he was slightly skeptical about agile. But then fortunately, he sat through the 2-day training program, and at the end of it, he said, I need only this much. This is fine with me. Because his fear was because of lack of awareness of it. So maybe awareness program can drive away this fear factor. And the traditional baggage, a company which was predominantly command and control styles, sometimes, unlearning something and then learning something new is always, it has its own challenges. And when you have to come out of your comfort zone, very often first we resist. So these are some of the factors that can work against building of an agile environment in an organization. The supporting factors can be competition, maybe forcing the organization to do this. So it will become a kind of a do or die situation for the organization. The technology may be compelling the organization because there are a lot of technological advances, and that may force them. And the environment itself may be forcing the organization. Now, pandemic time, everybody is working from home. We don't have any other go because this is acting as a catalyst for the adoption of agile. So the environment also impacts this agility factor. So the first thing is define the business case. Why are we doing it? The second thing is analyze the forces that will go against these agile implementations and that will support the agile implementations. And we should take actions to negate the opposing factors and enhance the supporting factors, and at some point in time, the entire organization will adopt agility. Building an agile environment, that agile environment must be built on principles, leadership, processes, and team principles, the Agile environment must be built around the Agile Manifesto and the 12 Agile principles. I'm not explaining this 12 Agile principles here because it was already discussed in another video. I'll give the link to that video in the details of this video. So if you are not sure about the 12 Agile principles and the Agile Manifesto, you can go to the details of this video and click on that link and refer back to the respective videos. Then leadership. The top leadership of the organization must demonstrate servant leadership. Sometimes it is very painful. So if you are an organization which is thriving on command and control, suddenly moving to a kind of servant leadership is very difficult. But unfortunately or unfortunately, only servant leadership will work in high-profile teams. When all the team members are highly capable, highly qualified, it is sometimes foolish to tell them how to do things. It is always better to ask them, how can we do this? So again, this is not a video for servant leadership. A servant leader is somebody who is obsessed with a mission or a vision, and then is a contribution freak, is a collaboration freak, is not a control freak. So these are some pointers to servant leadership. So I'll talk about servant leadership also in another video in detail. Now, as a practitioner, if you really want to embrace servant leadership, I'll suggest one book that is The First Break All Rules by Marcus Buckingham. That is a great book because at some point in time, I had to undergo this transition from a command and control freak to a contribution freak, and that was really painful. One organization, I was thriving as a control freak, like you give targets and then it must be done, it is non-negotiable kind of thing. Whereas suddenly you move to a product company, it is fully, it is thriving on servant leadership, where the tone of the manager itself is like, how can we do this? Can we do this? When can we complete? So it is a 180-degree turn from command and control. And sometimes it is painful. Maybe this book really helped me. That is The First Break All Rules by Marcus Buckingham really helped me to really understand the building blocks or the threads of servant leadership very fast, and then I could adopt it myself in the changed environment pretty quickly. Then the processes must be agile processes. When I say agile processes, as we might have seen in the previous video, it can be Scrum, it can be XP, RUP, TDD, Kanban, Lean, a lot of things are there. So whatever we propagate here must be from the agile family. And the teams must be agile teams. When you say agile teams, it is primarily small teams, self-organizing teams, supporting each other kind of thing. Then now let us look at the people factor of an agile environment. The predominant style must be servant leadership. And the role of the project manager is debatable in an agile environment, because when the team is working in a self-organizing mode, what is the role of a project manager? So if you have gone through the video on Scrum, the project manager in Scrum, it is not project manager. The person who is responsible for implementing Scrum is known as the Scrum Master. And one of the key roles of the Scrum Master is to remove the obstacles or impediments faced by the team quickly, so that they can meet their targets on time. So Irrespective of the title you have in an agile team, your predominant style will be should be that of a problem solver and collaborator. So even if you are called a project manager in the agile world, your actual function will be that of a servant leadership who helps the team to achieve their targets on time. Then agile teams are cross-functional in nature. When I say cross-functional, in a team there may be people with different skill sets. There could be testers, there could be coders, there could be architects, there could be engineers, so there could be documentation people, so there could be business analysts. So it is a cross-functional team working together as one single team. Then it is a highly collaborative teams. It is not only that one person will do his or her work alone. They'll have to go around and help others to complete their work also. Otherwise, your iteration will fail. Then self-organizing. Nobody is going to tell these agile teams how to do things. So they will find out a way to do it in the most optimal way. So as a project manager or a scrum master, you are not going to lead from the front. You are going to lead from behind by supporting the team and eliminating or removing the impediments faced by the team. Then dedicated people. Only dedicated people will be able to survive in an agile teams, because sprint after sprint or every day in a stand-up meeting, each team member is supposed to say the status of their work to the rest of the team. So if you are not a dedicated person and if you are not generating the results as required by the rest of the team, the peer pressure on you is going to be very, very high, and over a period of time it will become very difficult for you to survive in the team. Then a stable work environment. The work environment cannot be very disruptive. You cannot have too many unscheduled meetings. You cannot have too many changes. You cannot change the iteration durations as you need. So it must be a slightly highly disciplined work environment. Because sometimes some organizations I've seen, their adoption of agile is to get a lot of flexibility to bulldoze the team. Primarily, they create an opportunity through agile for the sales team to bulldoze the agile development team or the agile team. So those kind of stuff will not work. We are talking about open environments with the self-respect, mutual respect, collaboration, problem solving, openness, that kind of an environment we are talking of. Then in typical agile world, we have only 3 roles. Either you are a product owner, or you are a member of the cross-functional team, or you are a team facilitator. In the Scrum, the team facilitator is known as the Scrum Master. Product owner maintains the features or the functionalities to be developed, and the cross-functional team converts this functionality into the final deliverable. The Scrum team, because it is a cross-functional team, over a period of time, you will see if a person has worked in Scrum team for a very long time, that person will automatically become a T-shaped person than an I-shaped person. When I say I-shaped persons, means he has just one core competence. If I'm a tester, I know only testing and I do it. A T-shape means you have one core competence. Along with that, you have a set of other secondary competencies as well. So in a self-organizing team, nobody asks you to do certain things. Work has to be volunteered. So if a testing task is pending, sometimes it'll be a good idea if the developer wants to do testing, if he's enthusiastic about it, he can do that, and in the process he's picking up the testing skills as well. So you'll see engineers with both development skills or engineering skills and testing skills, architects with coding skills and testing skills. So we'll see more and more T-shaped individuals than I-shaped individuals with just one core competence. T means, okay, you have one core competence and along with it you have a set of secondary competencies also. That means you become more employable and your value increases. Your contribution ability to the team and to the organization increases tremendously because of this T-shaped capabilities. And the team workspaces should be conducive for agile work. There should be enough rooms for stand-up meeting, and discussions and stuff like that. And when you really start building an agile environment, one of the challenges can be overcoming organizational silos. Because a tester will always believe that he's part of the quality control team, whereas an architect will always believe that he's part of the architect team. Engineering team will believe that they are part of engineering. But then ultimately they are all part of the project. So unless these people can commit to the project with full dedication, the project cannot be successful. So getting that mindset, that common commitment across these organizational boundaries into the project is a challenge. So that is which can be accomplished only with very skillful, articulated actions by the managers and scrum masters and other key stakeholders. And the process part, when you transition from the traditional, the predictive styles to agile, sometimes it is very difficult to switch to agile overnight. So what you can do is initially everything would have been predictive. Then you take some projects and then experiment agile there, and then increase the proportion of projects which are following agile, and at some point in time you'll reach 100% agility across the teams. That is one way to look at it. Or you take one project itself, within that initially a great deal of stuff may be following predictive styles, and you may have a mixture of predictive and agile where the agile component is very less. And over a period of time, you increase the agile part with agile flavor within the project, and the predictive flavor you have to reduce. And at some point in time, the entire project can be agile. So we don't know here. A lot of thought need to go in before developing this strategy. I mean, a predictive to hybrid to pure agile. What can be the strategy? The implementation agencies or the senior management, along with the agile champions, should apply their mind together and come out with a strategy for the deployment part. Then now, because I'm sure that this colocation is becoming a challenge. When you say colocation, one of the key aspects of agile was the entire team sits in one location and then work. Now, because of the pressures, the enterprise environmental pressures like the pandemic and stuff like that, most of the team members are working from different locations. So this has to be, this inability to have co-located teams will have to be compensated with high degree of application of collaboration tools, project management information system, and work integration tools. So technology also plays a major role in creating a true agile environment. Now, when you roll out the agile strategy across the organization, this diagram I've taken from the book Crossing the Chasm by Geoffrey A. Moore. So he's talking about segmenting the prospective adopters into innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and the laggards. So you identify your stakeholders or you identify your teams, and some teams they always have a flavor to absorb anything new. So they are the innovators for you. These are the enthusiasts and the visionaries. So initially you try for this, the initial segment, you pick up the right projects which falls into this category for implementation of Agile. Then you showcase the results, and with the top-down support and visibility and evangelization, you should be able to cross this chasm, and then you can get into the pragmatists, because pragmatists are those guys who doesn't want to take any leadership. They want to see how things are progressing for others, and if the results are good, they are fine with it. So then almost 50% you will cover the moment you implement Agile with the pragmatists. Then the conservatives will automatically follow suit, and then the skeptics will not have any other go but to fall in line, because majority of the organization have adopted Agile. So this is a great model for strategizing the rollout of Agile or any new technology within any new concept. When I say technology, Agile is not a technology. Any new concept in a large organization comprising of multiple teams, maybe this can be a good strategic framework to roll out agility across the organization over a period of time. This book is, if you are if you are in responsibility of creating an agile environment, then this book is a good read. That is Crossing the Chasm by Geoffrey A. Moore. So that's it. We were discussing about creation of an agile. We are talking about creation of an agile environment. We discussed about the people part of it, the process part of it, and the technology part of it. We discussed about the value system. We discussed about servant leadership. We discussed about the business case for agility. And we discussed about crossing the chasm, that framework of early adopters and innovators, early adopters, and the pragmatists kind of thing. That also we discussed. So I'm sure that this would have given you an idea of how to really roll out Scrum, not Scrum or any agile stuff. So before rolling out these things, we have to ensure that the organizational environment is supporting this. So the purpose of this video was explaining the right organizational environment required for teams to really be agile within that environment. So if the environment is opposing implementation of agility, then most probably those implementations will fail. So it is the organization's responsibility to create that environment conducive for agile first before starting implementation. So if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do subscribe by clicking on the Link here. Our website is at pmri.in. So a lot of supportive material you will get from pmri.in as well. Thank you very much.